How we doing today, folks? My name is Evan, and welcome to a little bit of a different video than what we might be used to on the channel here. Today we'll be discussing a new MOBA in development called Ethereal Clash of Souls. Joining me today will be some of the guys from Undying Games who have put forth an ambitious but promising project for themselves. And before we begin, I just want to mention that all of you listening should go check out their social media pages or even their Discord, where you can receive further updates on the game and any other questions you have that are related. Links to all those can be found in the description below. So to start, how about you guys introduce yourselves and let everyone know what you do at Undying Games?
I'm Cosmic. I'm a game development analyst for Undying Games. I basically handle the social media and a couple other things, but that's what I mainly focus on, is the social media and community aspects of Undying Games.
I'm Cyonics. I am a community representative, along with Ronin. We are basically the bridge between the community and the devs. If the communities have any concerns, it's our job to inform the devs.
And I'm RoninTheRunner, also community representative in Cyonics. Hit it right on the head.
So the game is called Ethereal Clash of Souls. I'm pronouncing that right, correct?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I was a little worried about that one because, I've heard people pronounce it differently. So tell me a little bit more about it. It is a MOBA, as a pretty popular game type out there right now, but you guys have a certain take on it that's a little bit different.
Right. Well, we wanted to bring something new that we could all enjoy and us as developers would want to play, so we've made our own adaptations to the MOBA genre. So we have 6v6 instead of the traditional 5v5. We also have top, middle, and bottom lanes instead of the traditional mid, left, and right. There's 8 roles to the game instead of the traditional 5. Those were our adaptations, I guess you could say.
When I first heard about it, I was kind of a little skeptical, because I was like, I didn't notice that it was all whole different levels, kind of. So you got your bottom, middle, and top. So I'd be interested to see some gameplay on that. Now, when would you say that you guys came up with this idea? I know that some people have seen some of your videos already, and they noticed the Paragon assets you guys are using, but I know that those are just placeholders for the moment. So what else led you to make a 6v6 instead of your traditional 5v5?
For the 6v6, part of it was because, we wanted the game to be something completely different, but not so outlandish that it's not a realistic goal. And the map's a fairly decent size, as I'm sure a lot of people are concerned about its size. So 6v6, there's a whole extra person there. Well, 2 actually. So I think it's proportionately sized for 6v6 versus 5v5.
And to settle a few concerns, the map, if you go take League of Legends, for example, the amount of time it takes to get from one nexus to the other is going to be the exact same amount of time it takes to get from one core to the other in our game. So it's the same time.
Okay.
So the movement has been balanced so that the games aren't going to take forever. The map isn't so huge that it's going to take 2 hours to cross the entire map.
Are you guys are trying to settle for maybe 50 minutes at most game, where you try to keep them below 30 or 30-45 minutes?
Right, we're aiming for around 30-45, correct.
Okay, but you're still gonna have plenty of time for a laning phase and build up.
Sure, yes, of course.
And with that extra person, is that gonna be an extra jungler?
Could you
take that other
depends.
person somewhere else to a different lane?
That completely is up to the players. We're trying to keep it as free for them to choose as they want, and not oh, well, to be good you have to have 2 junglers because that's the meta. We're trying to stay away from that and let them play the game how they want to. So
now, I know you mentioned you guys had 8 classes. Would you care to elaborate on those a little bit? And I also heard that they have some unique features to them, which how they interact with the environment.
I can take that away if that's alright with you, Cosmic.
Go right ahead. I've been stealing all of them. So.
Yes, you have. Alright. So we've got number one, we've got our our Archmage, that's just your typical glass cannon. That's going to be your mid laner. That's going to be your nuke. We've got our Berserker, which is going to be your tanky class. Your support duo lane. Our Cleric, who's going to be your support, who might also go in duo lane. Again, that's mostly up for the players to decide. We've got your Knight, which is going to be your all-around, your warrior type classes that'll typically go in solo lane, or again wherever else you feel like. You've got your marksman, or usually your ADCs, your high damage, and your pull. And then our two most unique classes in the game are going to be, first, our Reaper, which is an assassin type class. The Reapers have the fun skill of being able to parkour around the very vertical map, wall climbing capabilities, and such like that. And then one of my personal most exciting classes is going to be our Sky Slayer. Yes, can fly, and they're going to be your main. They're going to be your main junglers. They're going to be your ganking, coming in doing as much damage as possible, and such like that. And then we have our final very mysterious Overseer, who nobody in the community, none of the community representatives, we don't actually quite know what they do yet. It's a mystery, and
Still
waiting
keeping under wraps.
We're waiting for Alpha to find out what they actually do.
We mentioned, Cyonics mentioned the Berserker, but he forgot to mention, what the Berserkers are actually such.
Ronin, you've gone full robot.
Yep.
Yep. Alright, is that
So-
better? I apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
So-
I believe you were trying to say was that you left out the aspect that, the part that Berserkers can actually destroy parts of the environments to get to areas. So, like, I mean, Sky Slayer can just fly over walls, and Reapers can just, like, parkour over them and stuff. But, I mean, a Berserker's a jungler. Sometimes they might want to bust through walls. So, yeah. I think that's what you were trying to say. I totally could be wrong. But yeah.
Yes, that is exactly. Thank you.
So I'm curious, how much have you guys taken from other MOBAs, like kind of ideas and stuff? Because that sort of sounds like something you could see in Dota, like destroying the environment.
We've taken plenty of inspirations, not only from MOBAs, but from other games like Diablo. The
Right,
list
you guys
goes
had that
on.
like MMO feel you kind of were going for as well.
Right. I mean, like, the list goes on of games that we've drawn bits of inspiration from and ideas about mechanics and whatnot. Actually being able to dodge jungle and boss enemies' attacks instead of them just being, inevitably hitting you and you can't dodge them. So
Right.
that's just one example.
Also, another one, if I'm not sounding robot-y. Final Fantasy is the art style is kind of coming from Final Fantasy, because I know there's a lot of people in the community are concerned that our game looks a little too cartoony. What they're going for is more of a Final Fantasy feel, to where, it's kind of more, I guess you could say, anime, where it's kind of realistic, kind of cartoony. So they're having that mixture, because there are people in the community that are concerned that the game looks a little too cartoony, and that's kind of where the inspiration comes from, is Final Fantasy.
Personally, I like that because I've played Final Fantasy games. I like the whole universe and what it has. And for artistic style, I mean, I like what you guys are doing so far. I know what keeps me away from playing Smite is the feel of it and the look. To me, that does feel a little too cartoony. But not to knock on any of the games, but I mean, most people that are watching this video probably right now have played Paragon, and that was my first MOBA. I played that before I played any of the other ones. And as of lately, I've been playing a lot of League, so I'm used to some of them, but I do like the style you're going with here. You were going to add on something, Cyonics?
I did have one thing to, if anybody is interested in checking out our art style, there's a few gameplay videos on our YouTube channel, or there are art leaks on Twitter and Discord and Instagram. So if anybody wants to see the art style, it's on all of our social medias.
And again, I'll put all the links to that down in the description below. And then my final question is, when can we see a playable, maybe like a public playable alpha or beta for the game?
So the earliest is going to be November, and then the latest is going to be spring of next year.
Okay. So I'm assuming alpha November, beta spring, or is that too soon for beta?
We're just looking at alpha and pre-alpha right now. Pre-alpha is just going to be a shorter segment, and then we'll move on to alpha. And I'm not exactly sure how long those will last. It depends on how much data we feel necessary to collect. And we give that larger time window because we prioritize quality over meeting a deadline. So if we feel necessary, we will delay it to spring or December or whenever instead of November if necessary.
I mean, hey, that works. Look at all the AAA games that keep getting delayed. Although you do have to wait a little bit longer, it's worth the wait. Any other final remarks you guys want to add, or anything you could think of? Any little small bits of information?
I've got nothing. Listen, you guys.
No, I just want to thank you for taking the time to sit down and do this interview. So
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys. I appreciate you taking the time to answer a couple questions for me.